Hi. You know, what are you going to do? All right. I promised you, oh, hello. I promised you to talk about Jenny. My, I call her my baby because she was. You know, what an honor. There's that incense. I put it over here versus last session because it was coming in this way and now it wants to. So it's frankincense and myrrh. I've always been attracted to that, so this is why it calms and makes me feel at home. All right, my first memory was just finding myself aware in heaven. I was in this place of like a cloud, except it was light. If you ever been, I like to see details. I see details, and when I was in a steam room once, I noticed that the steam was actually little bubbles of water. Well, that's what I want to liken the light of heaven. It was these little bubbles of heaven, or excuse me, light, except that there was like a reddish brown tinge intertwined with the white light. I never figured out that completely. I think I've figured out that say call it darkness, heaviness maybe, was part of my soul that hadn't advanced or resolved past life experiences, traumas. I did not like being in that place. I, I, I knew God was everywhere because we're actually in the universe, in this atmosphere on Earth. We are enmeshed with God. So there I was, alone and disgruntled, knew what was going to be asked of me, though the memory didn't tell me what those things were, other than I had to be positioned in a lifetime that was going to be very, very hard, very, very difficult with my worst enemies. Some had hurt me terribly. So there I was, and there was God's voice, which he said, "You have to go." And I also knew free will. God won't make you do anything because therefore it wouldn't be love. Okay? Um, I he said, "You have to go." And I looked away just like this. And I said, "No." And did kind of a side eye because I didn't know if God was going to really get mad at me and, yell at me and stuff, which I don't believe God operates in that kind of energy. And then I felt, as I was looking away, waiting for, I felt Christ. And I turned, and there was Christ. I have a picture of Christ here with eyes that penetrate. And there Christ was stern. And he said, just with eyes and energy, no words, he said, you have to go. Well, I didn't want to. Again, I looked this way and said, no, a little bit firmer. And then I felt this energy. And I said to myself, God really knows how to get to me. Now I can't say no. And when I looked back at Christ, there was this rainbow, a rainbow. He was standing like behind it and above it, and waist kind of up. And then the image changed. And he stood, and there was this beautiful little baby girl. She never looked or aimed her energy at me at all. I felt her just because of her being pure love. She was just wearing white underwear, and her glow was pink. I learned later in life that pink energy is love. She had her head bowed very gracefully. She was skeletal. Her body was different. She was just there with her head. Such grace. So Christ said to me, she's willing to go for you. I could see that her body was different, that skeletal, and that she was going to suffer greatly for me. She doesn't like me crying. Good girl. Good baby. Oh, sweetheart. I love you too. This little baby. My Chewini Izzy. I rescued her, but she really rescued me. Just like Jennifer. I didn't really say yes. I just was quiet. And my next memory is seeing my mother from here. I mean, I was here, and here she was, pregnant. And then I came in. And my next memory was being born, coming out of the darkness. And I remember the light, too bright for my little eyes. I kept my eyes closed and I heard this humming buzz sound, which I now think was the hum or buzz from the lights. I was born in 61, September 7th, 1961 at 6:03 p.m. And any of you that do charts, you can look that up. My chart is pretty clear on my on the project here. I believe that astrology is architecturally designed. It's your path. It's your trying to get the words out. Plan, your design. Right, Izzy? Excuse me. Sorry. I've been crying, trying to prepare for this, and I'm trying not to cry. I thought I got it all out. And then my next memory was being bottle fed. And I don't remember feeling hungry. What I really remember was thirst. It was more thirst that was foreign, and I didn't like that feeling. So when that bottle came, I was grateful. And oh, excuse me, my other first memory. Sorry to be confusing. My other first memory was looking at what was closest to me, and it was this soft, kind of quilted vinyl with little blue flowers. And I loved those flowers. I love flowers. And there was this great picture window in front of me, and it was it was a cold, kind of rainy outside. And I say that because I recognized the weather. I mean, this memory is so fresh. I could go on and on about the details of it. Um, and then I could hear whispers around me, and I knew my mother was right here. I could sense her and feel her and hear her speaking quietly. And then I saw shadows walking around, particularly one sister who was next in age to me. And it was dark, kind of shadowy. You know, I don't remember colors, uh, just like the conditions. And after my sister kind of went out of my view, it hit me. And I prayed. I said, I hope they take care of me. Uh, Babies are, helpless. And I knew the form I was in, and I knew I had to rely on those around me for caring for me. I mean, I had a concern that that might not happen. That was my reality I was brought into, that I agreed to. Okay. Yes, that was incredible. So the next was the bottle feeding. Yeah. And it, was a million miles long in my little brain. And I remember falling asleep. I was being rocked, blanketed, which I love rocking chairs. This is a find on the streets recently. Anyway, I woke up to lying on my stomach, the cold from that mattress for some reason. The cold, I did not like that cold. I preferred that warmth of being held and rocked. I was mad that I fell asleep and they put me back in this cold. And the window uh, scared me because the curtains were, my mom, I described this to her. She said she had made those curtains, they were eyelet. And the little flowers, the eyelet had, sewing, threads around it. And it looked like a mean face on those curtains. And that's when I wailed. I was so scared, I just cried out. And I felt betrayed about being put in my crib again. So I was picked up and rocked to sleep again. I remember, don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. And I'd wake up in that crib again, mad. I had told this to both my mother and oh, hi, bug, and my sister, my oldest sister. She was 10. And she said, I rocked you, I fed you and rocked you, and you would cry as soon as I put you in that crib. So I'd pick you up and rock you more, and you'd put you down and you would cry. So, I got validation from uh, two people that took care of me, my mother and my sister. My oldest sister was more mother to me than my mother. My mother was, I found out older. She didn't like babies. She had 5 of them. Of course, I wasn't planned. The rubber broke, and I was not cared for. You know, uh, obviously, I'm alive. I had some needs met, but not the love. In fact, it was the opposite of love. It was resentment and all her pain, and here I was, and she was in such, she had a right to be in pain. She had a horrible, horrible life early on. And my father did as well. And they attracted each other. That's what we do when we're hurt. We go to what we know and attract, if we're not healed, we will attract our pain. It's all subconscious. And they did not know each other's histories very well. It was like that. So my young life was, I have so many baby memories. I'll have to go about that session by session. Each one is a conversation, each memory. It adds up to uh, why I'm here. The suffering, the abuse, the neglect serves a purpose. I was always determined. Starting at age 3, my older sisters, 3 of them, were fighting viciously. Mom and Dad weren't home. I was 3, and I was so scared of them. Their viciousness, woo. So my thing was hiding in closets, underneath beds, and in cabinets. Later on, it was up in my mulberry tree. And next step was on the roof. Okay. So at 3, I'm in the closet, and I was peeking out, watching their expressions, their venom coming out at each other. One sister was in the bathroom, locked the door, while the other 2 sisters were attacking her. And my oldest sister was in the bathroom, and I heard her say something, and for some reason I understood what she was saying. At 3, she said, "I'm going to take these aspirins and kill myself." And my other 2 sisters, I don't remember their words. I remember them vicious, vicious, coming out of their, with words and their whole energy of attack. Very cruel. I looked up to the Lord and I said, I don't want to be them. I don't want to be like them ever. And for some reason, I knew I was locked into the DNA. I don't know how come this awareness, well, I didn't know how come growing up why I had the awareness. I'm only now uh, at peace with why. I've figured things out and prayed and worked hard enough to get out. That was the prayer to the Lord. I said I want to be adopted out. I'm not going to be like them. No way. That was my direction to get away from that stuff. It's so stupid to hurt people. It really is. It's not. It's not our purpose here at all. The purpose is to not hurt each other. Beatitudes, universal law, Christ's teachings. So my lifetime of my early lifetime, it's hard to go back there. That's why I don't talk about it. The memories are more real than the actual events, you know. That's how our brains work. That's why post-traumatic stress, when you relive the memory, it's more real than when it actually occurred. So I'm feeling that right now. I was diagnosed with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Just 4 years ago, a psychiatrist finally answered all my questions and whys, got on the right medication, a couple of them. And once they started working, I found myself with a strength, clarity, enough of enough clarity to use logic and reason to climb out and stay out, and to use my history as a teaching tool to make coming out of pain an art. Art therapist is my history of education. And understanding genetics and climbing out of the dominant, prominent genes that I inherited. These are scripture things, and the people that channeled the Bible, goodness, such wisdom so early. I don't believe in Adam and Eve. That's a very good fable to study. That's how I see it. The betrayal of the brother, killing his brother, is what I came out of understanding. It just resonated, that ego and fear, jealousy is fear and ego. That was why my family hurt me and continues to. The lies, the deception. On the roof at 15, talking to God with a thunderstorm around and in the horizon. I understood that I had to leave the home for survival at 15. I had overdosed that year. Died for a little bit. Kind of died. My blood pressure went to 0 from an overdose of something I don't know what it was. But there, in that place I went to, I was shown, the hermit on the mountain, the man in the beard. That's our higher self. I didn't know or have language for that, but that's who I met with. And what changed me completely was that reality was more clear and crisp than here now. It was more real. This to me is, I'm temporary. I don't take materialism very seriously. I never have. I've been really judged for being who I am. I said in my first session here that I have had money. I wasn't taught how to use money correctly. But keeping life simple, like Christ taught, works. Being vulnerable, humble, around safe people, that's how you grow. Find those people if that resonates with you, what I'm saying. All right, that's about all. That's my introduction to Jenny and my mission here. It's kind of a clinical word or something. It's a purpose. There's a reason I suffered in every way. No details. Just understand that. I'm just outside of that, so I'm a little bit sensitive about sharing. I know my flaws. Um, please don't judge anybody. I want to make homeless people a faraway memory for everybody. If I could, I would be out on the streets with those people, helping them, advising. I'm trained to do that through education, mentors. Lord, mentors. That's huge discussions to have. Find those people. Study. Be honest with yourself as much as you can. Truth comes in stages. It'll happen for you as you grow and you're ready to accept. The more you love yourself, not through ego and fear, but finding out that you are worthy of love, and therefore everybody is, should be a goal for all of us. I don't mean to shoot on people. I'm simply, you know, my intent is simple. I don't have an agenda for myself. I don't want to be out. I don't want to be out in the world. I've been very hurt there, you know. So I want to tell people, don't hurt. If you are hurt, and we all are, change your DNA from narcissistic traits to honorable traits, not self abundance materially or ego feeding things, you know. That's a trap. Humankind is branched off. My mentor, my archaeologist, anthropologist, spiritual teacher at university, well, it was community college then, I've been to universities. This man held so many titles and walked the walk. He said humans are Homo sapiens sapiens now. This is 91. I've figured that we've branched off into the narcissistic traits, which are reptilian. That's scientifically proven. That reptilian brain we still are dealing with is the culprit of our biology. If you focus your selfishness as being the way, then you will be doomed to not understanding love and healing. We're all here to heal and to be gentle with each other, compassionate. Mother Teresa, we didn't know, but until she died and her diary was published, that she suffered, had anger with God because of all the suffering. I get that. She was in the midst of it all the time. There's so much the human body and brain can, and the soul can take. That's why I'm not on the streets helping people. I have designed a way out. Doing the one-on-one drained me so badly that I got very ill. I had to completely, for 10 years, back out of the world and do that dark night of the soul that cleared my history. As I heal, it's healing my generations behind me and before me. This is Einstein's past, present, future. Uh, you know, I understand relativity. E equals mc squared is the formula for healing, for reversing. The c squared is light. That's how my healing work operated. It was the light of God that coming through me as the conduit to my clients or patients. That to me was E equals mc squared. I have 2 daughters living, and my firstborn, I got her a little chalkboard with Cookie Monster painted on it, and I would teach her on this chalkboard. And I wanted her to know E equals mc squared for her growth and advancement. So I wrote that equation down on this Cookie Monster chalkboard. So the next day after I introduced it to her, I said, she was 2 years old, 3 years old, kind of in that. I said, do you remember E equals mc squared? She wrote it on the chalkboard. E equals mc, and she made a little square instead of a 2. That sweetheart. She started talking at 6 weeks. I know Izzy's talking. And my second daughter talked early. She's more artistic. My firstborn is more science. If you could cut me in half, please don't. 2 sides of my personality and my purpose and practice are spirituality and science. Those 2 components are one. I understand what black holes are for spiritually. I understand astronomy in terms of spirituality and our purpose here, why we're in this existence. The alien, I'm going way long here. I'm so sorry. I'm going to close in a second. The alien thing going on right now, I've seen crap, excuse me, my stepbrother's pilot in the Air Force flew F-15s, and I told him what I had seen. I saw this light overhead. I lived out in the country, and it was just there, way, way high. It had moved and stopped right overhead, but it was way up there, and I heard no sound. I called my husband out, and he witnessed it. And I was telling my stepbrother, I said, it wasn't a copter because, they can't go altitudes up. And then I told him about the three other formations, these three lights came and joined the stationary. And then they went up and out. They didn't fly together in another direction. Their direction was this way. They disappeared. My husband witnessed that with me, and we both, like, the jaw hanging down, and couldn't explain it. We never really talked about it. He didn't want to talk about it. I don't know. I know that there are life forms beyond us. What I learned in uh, anthropology and archaeology is anthropocentricism. I guess that's a word. I don't know, but it's anthropocentric means that people believe humankind is, you know, the only thing that exists. Okay, well, anyway, I just want to leave it at that. Uh, if you have any questions or comments, um, experiences on anything I've spoken of here today, please let me know how you think and feel. Please be respectful. Respect all life, please. All life. You saw the bug that came in. When you're one with nature, you know, it's beautiful. All right. Thank you. Please subscribe if you want to know more about my journey, my existence here. And please comment on anything you feel free and willing to share. Thank you.